Welcome to the channel, everyone. If you did not already know, my name is Beluga the Jaegerist, and today we're going to be talking about Eren and his friends, right? So this video will be about that consistently, the entire time, Eren was looking out for his friends, that him all of a sudden switching his goals and not wanting to care about his friends, and that he was originally trying to achieve freedom, and then he switched to caring about his friends, especially Mikasa. I'm here to dispel that notion. Now, it's crazy that I have to say this, but just because he always cared about his friends and caring about his friends was a massive motivation does not mean it was his only motivation. I know, you're shocked, right? You probably think, oh, it's either he wanted to achieve freedom and destroy his enemies, or he cared about his friends. It can't be that he's an ogre and he has layers and he has actually multiple things going on at the same time, and we actually will be talking about that. So, number one, from the very first time we ever see Mikasa interact with Eren, of course we see him going in there to slay those people. Now, when asked why he would do this, he gave some answers, but this, and we'll get into his answers, but this scene, I think people really underestimate how important this scene was. I keep saying Isayama is the master and not wasting anything. And since this is in the show, it stands to reason that it has great importance. And it turns out it does. And this will also clear up something that people have also been griping about, which is, I think it's chapter 130. If you know the controversy, you know the controversy. Now, the first thing I want to mention is that he says, you are animals that are disguised like humans. Then we go to his father, he says they were just animals, right? They were not human beings. They were just animals pretending to be human beings, right? That's one of the things he says. Now, why do I bring this up? I bring this up as actually a tangent. It's actually a side tangent. Because when he's talking about in 130, saying he'll destroy every last one of those monsters that are on this earth, he's referring to human beings. And now that foreshadows that, okay? Because basically it's realizing that every human being is a monster, and his true enemy is just humanity in general, which is why he didn't want humans to be outside the walls, because he knows with humans come evil and corruption. They just wanted a blank slate of just pure nature and freedom, so you can do whatever you want to do. But he couldn't, because he realized there's humans up there. And then that was part of his motivation. Again, Eren is an actual well-written character, and he actually is a layered character, not a pseudo-layered character like Regina from Once Upon a Time. He's an actual layered character, okay? And for those of you who are wondering, no, I do not just watch Once Upon a Time. I watch a lot of shows that just, no one deserves to get dunked on. Once Upon a Time is just a perfect example of what not to do. And it's too disrespectful to dunk on shows like how I dunked on Once. But Regina is a pseudo-layered character. She's not an actual layered character. Her layering is its actual inconsistencies, okay? Eren's layering is not inconsistency. It's different. I know I'm not going to explain why. Well, we'll explain Eren's side. I won't waste my breath. I won't waste my breath talking about Regina. But I bring this up simply to clear that up, because this is part of his character, his layering. He is not taking revenge about his mom. He's not like, oh, my mom got killed, now I have to kill everyone in revenge. No. What he's saying is, this entire time I've been fighting against humans. Titans are not the bad guys. Humans are the bad guys. Humans are the monsters. And it's this great, it's a really good character arc. We go from this guy being all angry at Titans, thinking Titans are the problem, which is again why we see him as a flashback. He's looking at Titans saying, that Titan is a problem. That guy's evil. He this kind of looks like a girl, but she needs to die, right? This is bad. This is evil. I need to kill these Titans. Only to find out that the Titan was actually his father's past wife, and was simply just a victim of war, like Annie and Reiner and Bertholdt, and himself. Interesting. But who wages wars? The Titans? No, it's human beings. and so he's now realizing that human beings are the monsters, and that's actually a very traditional. When I say traditional, I mean like classical, not like a traditional character, but this is a classical character arc. It's really cool. Where he's actually, gaining more wisdom and understanding about the world and how bad it is. I mean, Zeke realized this earlier for different circumstances, but anyway. But another thing he says in this woods is that he just wanted to save Mikasa, and then he gives her the scarf because he said, "I just wanted to save her. I wanted to save her." He said he could have got himself killed. Grisha says, again, this might be a little bit of a reach, but understand that if everything Isayama, every little thing that comes out of any Isayama character's mouth is always dripping with meaning. I mean, I remember one time, this line is not present in the manga, but one time in season 2, Sasha said that Annie was fond of sweet things. This was after Lost Girls got made and she was eating donuts, right? So even a thing like that has so much meaning. And speaking of Annie and Sasha, when Connie was laughing, that's typically a just funny throwaway thing. Everyone's like, ha ha ha, laugh, and then they go along. That's usually a bit of a show. But this actually has deep psychological meaning, one of which being that when Sasha died, right, Connie was sad about it. He hasn't been like that. Then Annie comes up and she starts eating, and then that's the real. I mean, while that there's more going on there, but actually no, I'll go into that more actually. And then of course we have the whole guilt complex that Connie has because Connie was about to kill a child to revive his mother, even though he knew it was not the right thing for her, right? Killing Falco, right? So now he feels like a dirty, evil person too. And this is in the backdrop of him going to the port to start killing the Jaegerist. So, and then he sees another person who he initially thought of as so dirty, he can never go down to her level. Then he understands her, and that's why he's laughing. So you have all this, really cool stuff going on, and just what's usually a funny bit. So when Isayama does something, I bring this up to say that when Isayama does something, it's very rarely a stretch, and you can pretty much read into it as much as you would like. Now, so he says, Grisha says, you could have gotten yourself killed. That's pretty on the nose. And then he says, I just want to save her. And that keeps getting brought up over and over again, right? About him killing the intruders. Now, next. Now, again, this is going to grow really into their layering. But recall how he got eaten by a Titan, and then that silly commander was about to, blow the cannon through him. But I'm actually getting way too ahead of myself because that scene, that season 1 basic shallow scene, actually had a lot in it. Number 1, how did he get eaten by Titan exactly? I wonder how he got eaten by Titan. It's like he sacrificed his life to save Armin. What happened? Where are all the keep moving forward people? Right? I thought I want Eren to just keep moving forward, right? But we all loved that scene. We either all loved it or thought it was whack. But we definitely didn't say it ruined Eren's character, right? That he sacrificed his life for Armin. But funny enough, how does he transform? Right now, I always say his mom was not the catalyst for anything, right? His mom dying had nothing to do with him fighting Titans, right? But it gave him extra motivation because they made it so much more personal and deep. It's like if, I don't know how to say this, but it just made it a lot stronger for him, right? And that's why he wants to fight Titans. Not because of his mom, but because he just had because as his dad said, he had an innate sense of freedom from the day he was born. But he goes and sacrifices all this to save Armin. Then he goes into the Titan's mouth. Again, I am bringing this up to say that he always was sacrificing himself for his friends, especially Mikasa. So he dies, supposedly, and then what motivates him? What actually gets him to activate his Titan power for the first time? It's been 15 years, I'm sure he's had bumps and bruises and he's been upset, but this is the first time he's actually activated his Titan powers, when he thinks he's about to die. And again, another really cool line, he says, I'll kill them with my bare hands if I have to. And again, I'm sure a lot of you caught that, but still, every single line, done very purposeful. It says, I'll kill them with my bare hands if I have to, and then with that burning desire for freedom, thinking it's all done, the attack Titan comes, right? Then it starts slaughtering Titans. Now, then he gets captured. Again, trust me, I have a plan for this. I'm not just going off on a spiel here. So then, he goes around, has his fun, and then he gets caught. Now, what happens to him? He already transformed. He can't transform. He has to have a really, really strong emotional reaction. Again, he's gotten to heat up hostage with Jean. He was mad about his mom getting eaten. None of those men turned to Titans. But when he thought he was about to die, he turned to a Titan. When he thought his freedom was up. Again, Laren. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. He goes and he's accused of being a traitor. And the commander's about to blow him up. But what happens? He ends up saving all of his friends by putting himself on the line? Interesting. Interesting how he did that. He made this, skeleton out of, he uses his last strength just to save his friends because he cared deeply about them. And he didn't really care what happened to him. Remember, he was telling Armin to get to safety and he'll do with them himself. But also recalling, and this actually is a little bit of a stretch, but also recall how there's the purple flowers there. And it's, I draw attention to this by having Armin say, those flowers weren't there before. Now, it's theorized that those flowers are supposed to be the symbol of Mikasa and Eren's love, which is why I say it's a little bit of a stretch, but still, the flowers 100% have relevance because Armin does say, those flowers weren't there before, and now they're there. But also, another thing, do you remember what the owl, I got really angry at myself. Do you remember what memory he was getting, right? When he was in the woods. What flashback was going through his head? It was, if you want to save Mikasa and Armin and everyone else, you'll learn how to control this power. That's what his father is saying to him. Which is funny, because he got this from Eren. Not Eren Yeager, Eren Kruger. Also known as the Owl. Now, the Owl said this before Mikasa and Armin and Eren were even born. He says, if you want to save Mikasa and Armin and everyone else, you'll see your mission through to the end. Pause. Okay. That means that Eren's, what I have to assume to be Eren's ultimate goal, is to save Mikasa and Armin and everyone else. And we will talk about the everyone else part, because that part's also very relevant. Because, again, he didn't say, if you want to save parity, notice. Because, again, that was the context of the conversation. It's about parity. Well, he starts talking about family after, but the entire arc, is about, that phase was about parity and the rights of the Eldians and how the Eldians are being oppressed. But he didn't say if you want to save the Eldians. He didn't say if you want to make parity great again. He says if you want to save Mikasa and Armin. Interesting. Interesting how that's the only thing that gets communicated. And then he says, well, whose memories are these? Well, of course, they're Eren's. Because Eren's, one of his main goals, again, what I have to assume to be his ultimate goal, because, again, he didn't say if you want your son to achieve freedom, all right? Because, he could have said that. He could have said, listen, you didn't achieve freedom, but your son could achieve freedom if you do this. Eren could have easily orchestrated that. He could have given Grisha a dream of his son becoming this great free person and saving all parity, or not saving all parity. Just being a free person, he could have done all this. He could have... Or hell, he could have said that your son will be a great king and he'll be the savior of all parity and all this other stuff. Eren could have put anything, but what he put was Mikasa first, Armin, and then everyone else. And of course, you have to assume that this is in order of priority, because obviously everyone else is not important. Obviously, everyone else is not as important to him as Mikasa and Armin, and of course, Mikasa is put before Armin. So you must assume that, again, their love was foreshadowed since the beginning. We heard this phrase over and over again. Mikasa, Armin, and everyone else. Mikasa, Armin, and everyone else. Mikasa, Armin, and everyone else. How have we never heard Armin and Mikasa and everyone else? We always heard Mikasa first, then Armin, then everyone else. Again, every single line is dripped with meaning. Again, another random line. He says, I'm fairly certain we speak the same language. What does that mean? Oh, turns out there was multiple languages. And that was actually a thing that was relevant later on in the story, the language barrier. I bring that up to say that it's very, very hard to read into Isayama, because everything he does is done with purpose. Okay? So, he says, Mikasa and Armin. Grisha says, Mikasa and Armin. Which was that Eren, not manipulated the timeline, because you can't manipulate the timeline, but Eren put through in the ether. One of the main thing was, I want to save Mikasa and Armin and everyone else. Right? Now, on a little bit of a side note, but it's still very relevant. everyone else, right? This would be referring to, your Sashas, your Connies, your Jeans, right? But it also, and we know this for a fact, refers to Annie and Reiner and presumably Berthold, okay? Now, why is that important, you may ask? Well, number one, it shows that Eren isn't trying to take vengeance. Why would he take... Again, this guy's about to die. Or he presumably knows he's about to die. Why would he take time out of his day to have a one-on-one conversation with Reiner and Annie? Why? Again, that immediately dispels everything about revenge. Again, not if you think the ending got changed. Again, if you think the ending got changed, then sure. But if you are accepting the ending, that means that, again, just further proof. I've been saying over and over again. He's not trying to take vengeance. He's not trying to take vengeance. He's not trying to take not trying to take vengeance. And this is proof of that. He goes and has a one-on-one card. He takes time out of his day. Well, I mean, not really. He's not really taking time. He's in limited time, but he has a one-on-one conversation with both of them. But why is this important? Okay, and again, now you probably angered some Jaegers, and again, I call them Jaegers because I don't really believe that they're Jaegers, because Jaegers would actually listen to Eren and understand what he's feeling, unless Jaegers is a political moniker that means the sort of fascist rulers of parity, which is nationalistic fascist rulers of parity, which is fine too. I just don't know why you're using Eren's name. That might be offending some of you guys. Might be thinking, oh, Eren's a big softie. He's not going full chat and not punching right on the throat and kicking Annie in the stomach. We think he should be mad and setting them on fire, blah, blah, blah. I know how you people are, right? Everyone knows how you are. The reason why he's not doing that is because it's ridiculous. Because again, as I said before, Isayama knows human beings. He's had a relationship with these people for years. And he went through some of the hardest moments in his life with them. I mean, he confided in Reiner and Berthold. Oh, he thought that was a coincidence too. He confided in Reiner and Berthold when his mom was about his mom dying, right? So he shared deeply emotional and impactful moments. And remember, Erens says Reiner was everything to him, right? But why am I bringing this up? Because see, this parallels Ymir. This is what not parallels, but it's sort of like the Ymir situation. When I say if you love somebody, you love somebody, and he had a relationship with these people, and there's nothing you can do about that. You're not just going to stop having a relationship with these people. But again, if you are an incel who watches anime in your mom's basement for 23 hours a day and then sleeps for the other hour, you're not going to understand that. Not only because you don't have enough sleep, because you don't have a human interaction. But that's what most of these Jaegerbomb people are. That's what most of these Titanfolk people are. They don't understand how human beings work. And if you think you do, please call in the show. Thursdays and Fridays, I'll be glad to have you on. But he still has feelings for them. He's completely cleared his heart of vengeance, especially since he's done things much worse than them, right? But he's because he still liked them. He talked to them. Now, another thing that I would like to bring up, is the song, the Child of Evil song, which is funny. I probably should have watched the anime special version earlier because it dropped like 4 months ago. I probably should have looked at it earlier, but for some reason I just looked at it today. And you got people saying it's proof that it's proof that A&R is gonna happen. Okay, or that A&R trash, but AOE is gonna happen. It's gonna be a different timeline. Our loop theory has been confirmed. But in reality, first off, I don't know why it's called Child of Evil. Funny enough, I was confused as to why it was called Child of Evil, but this song definitively proves that this entire time it was for Mikasa and Armin and everyone else, and also proves that you're not getting your anime original nothing. But also recall how the sound director said that. And I bring this up to say that the music has played a big part in Tekken Time. The music is actually part of the plot at this point. The music is very, very important to the story. From Appleseed to Call Your Name to Call of Silence to Child of Evil, even back to Greno Yuma, how did I say it? Crimson Bow and Arrow. You know what I mean? Uh, it's always been part of the plot. It's always been the characters, talking with the songs, and he says in the song, "I'll do anything to protect you." Mikasa is shown, and Armin. It actually shows when the Titan's biting Armin's arm off. It says, "I'll sacrifice anything to protect you," and then first it's Armin, then it's Mikasa. That's interesting. And then it says, "The world is cool, but I still love you." That wasn't all the notes enough. Mikasa is shown, right? So it just proves that again, Eren is about his friends. He loves Mikasa, he loves Armin, and everyone else he cares deeply about. And that's why he said to Connie, presumably, you're going to have your mom back. Because again, he mentioned Connie's mom coming back. And this is something that Connie must have talked about and that Eren knew for years, right? About this. And it was important to him to get his mom untitanized, right? To give him a good life. Now, the last part of the song, which is the most important part of the song. Now, while you're trying to see if your little time loop theory is going to be correct, the last part of the song just spells it all out, and it's been saying and it just says what I've been saying, which is Eren's a layered character. He says inside justice, inside sacrifice, there's a child of evil. Kind of like, an onion. It's kind of layered inside. Now, what does that mean? Inside justice, inside sacrifice, inside there's a child of evil. What that means is it can actually mean a couple things. But what that means is that, well, number one, justice, because the parody or his friends deserved, basic human rights, and something needs to be done. And whether you like it or not, blood had to be shed. And again, I'm not saying it isn't people's blood to be shed. I'm saying everyone's blood to be shed. Blood was going to have to be shed. Talking was going to do absolutely nothing. Blood was going to have to be shed for the parody to get the rights back, which would be justice is referring to. Then he says sacrifice. Sacrifice, which of course is referring to him dying to save his friends. Of course it is. Because what else would we talking about? Why would he mention sacrifice? Again, every word in that song is meaningful. You have to have a meaning for that. Sacrifice. He's talking about sacrificing himself for Mikasa and Armin and everyone else. And then he says there's a child of evil. Because you have multiple things going on. I've been saying this. Eren is multiple things at the same time. Right? He is the patriot. He is the seeker of freedom. But he's also the friend and lover. I've been saying this for the longest time. Privately and now publicly. Okay? Because that's just how you write a well-written character. Again, there's a fine line between a layered character and inconsistent character, as you can see here. Because the character can have multiple layered motivations that sometimes clash with each other. And some people who are, shallow and, not born on the brighter side, perceive that as inconsistencies. When it's actually not an inconsistency. It's just having a layered character. Right? And again, it's very rich and very realistic. Now, what does that mean? It could mean a couple of things. What does the lyrics mean? It could mean that, I see it as just two things. Either the core of his being, because he says inside sacrifice, inside justice, inside sacrifice. So he's a patriot, then he's a friend and lover, which would be the sacrifice. I would say that it's the core. I mean, he says inside there's a child of evil. That basically interpret that at the core, because inside of justice is the lover, right? But there's also this selfish desire for freedom coming up inside him, right? Which would make him, well, at least in my opinion, you can again, Isayama said via Nerd Armin, Geek Armin. And speaking of Geek Armin for a hot second, I forgot to mention this in my last video, but the memory shards that Eren sees, where it's an alternate universe and it's Goth Mikasa and Geek Armin. Those were also in the manga, so you can yeet that out of the window. Okay, now he says that he says via Goth Mikasa, and they can interpret it however he wants to interpret it. But so in my interpretation, he'd be a good guy. But it could also mean that inside Justice, which would be the Patriot, inside Sacrifice, which would be the lover and friend, there is a child of evil, which is at the core of his being. Which is that his core desire is to, the Chad keep moving forward for freedom. Which in my opinion, would make him a bad guy. Because he's just a selfish prick. And the reason why selfish people are the best type of bad guys is because no one likes a selfish person except for themselves, right? Or unless they benefit you. In this case, this benefits literally no one. Especially if the A&R ending happens. This benefits literally no one. Maybe a few people, but you know what I mean. It benefits vast majority of it benefits Eren. Any other benefits are completely unintentional. So Eren. So that can be a couple of things, but again, I believe Isayama is purposely leaving this up to interpretation. Is Eren free? Is Eren a good guy or bad guy? I think it's up to interpretation on purpose. I'm gonna say that's a child of evil creeping up, and he eventually destroys it, which is why he says, "Mikasa, forget about me, be free." In fact, that's actually a very good point. So that's my just opinion. Again, there's plenty of room for disagreement there because. He could just very well be selfish at the core of his being. But also, another thing about AoE, and another thing about him always loving Mikasa, is that it ends with him and Mikasa, which, again, you're saying this a loop, I get it, you want to say it's a loop, but it ends with him and Mikasa. It's him and Mikasa. Come on, guys. And it's Mikasa. Anytime love gets mentioned, it's Mikasa. Maybe Armin, but it's Mikasa. Okay? I don't know what else the guy. I don't. Basically, I was probably screaming at his computer whenever he reads his stuff. I know he actually does it, but seriously, he loves Mikasa. Can you just stop and just get it? He loves Mikasa. Yes, I know he's a virgin. You don't like it. Yes, I know he's emotional. You don't like it. Yes, I know he's not free. You don't like it. Take it out. It's Isayama. The dude loves Mikasa. The dude has always loved Mikasa. Okay, so again, please stop with this about and then he got retconned and he didn't love Mikasa. This is not the truth. And he's supposed to kill Mikasa and somehow live happily after that. But anyway, I hope this video showed you how Eren really did love his friends and how that was his core motivation, that was a main motivation since the beginning, since season 1, since season 2, season 3. In season 1, I brought the whole thing where he sacrifices his life for Armin, makes the Titan. Season 2, I'll wrap this scarf around you always. That, he goes and punches the Titan for me because, I hope you guys understand. All right. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you don't like the video, you're more than welcome to comment. And if you want to get on the show, you can come on Thursdays and Fridays. Have a good day.